first thing is expectations. You see people coming in, I had a 2X trade. I made 1,700% on this stock. You see Twitter's filled with that bullshit. And I don't like using the second word in that series, but that's the reality. You've got to keep your expectations in check. Trading is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Sure, there are those people, those like market wizards, that hit the ground and they're successful from the get-go. You've got to understand, those people are 5 standard deviation successes. There are those people, and we've seen a couple in the last Market Wizards book that, ran 10,000 and 10 million. That is a 6 standard deviation expectation. When we're talking about even 30% average for 5 years, we're getting down into 3 standard deviation expectations. And so this idea that you're going to come in and just kill it, it leads to bad judgment. And one of the bad judgments it leads to is too much sizing, where people come in. Now, when I started trading, I consider myself lucky, Richard, that I escaped. Because I used the trading, the sizing that I used on a couple trades were just insane. Where early on, my goal was to build. My goal was to build my account. I kept all the money in my account. My net worth was in my account. And, I wanted to grow that and grow that. I knew what size I wanted to grow to. I mean, initially, I started in 81 with $88,000. I wanted to grow to $1 million. That was like my next point, right? I want to be at $1 million in my account. But I was willing to take a little bit of risk. Now, when I say risk, I'm saying risking 10% of my capital on a trade. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And I could show your audience, if they're new, depending on their metrics, I'll show how they're going to eventually wipe out. That's the reality. Currently, I risk about 70 basis points on a trade. That's 0.7%. So for each $1 million block of AUM, we're worth $7,000 on the trade. What does that look like? Okay, with $1 million, we may trade 3 micro NASDAQs. And so that should give your viewers what reasonable size would be. Three of the micro NASDAQs is what we would trade for each $1 million in their account, because we keep our risk under 100 basis points. So you've got to keep your risk under 100 basis points, and you've got to accept the fact that it is going to take 3 to 5 years for you even to get a cent, for you to understand how you trade right now may not be the way that you find you will trade in the future. How you trade